by a noise that sounded like a firecracker just going past the porthole. And I guess the three of us were awakened. And my father thought that it was the pilot coming for the mail. So we didn't bother at all, but just a few minutes later, somebody came to our door, knocked on the door and told us to get out, that the boat was sinking.
As the Storstad collided with the Empress, Kendall had the engines brought to a full stop and then called the engine room, ordering the chief engineer to close the watertight doors, which were all operated by hand. But already the ship was lost. The ship's list kept increasing under the weight of the water that flowed into her wound.
The ship leaned so violently that I was thrown out of my bunk. I then attempted to get out, but the pitch was so pronounced that it took me several minutes just to open the door. Dr. James Grant, Ship's Surgeon, Empress of Ireland. There was no real shock. The ship trembled with the impact just about as much as a train going at a good speed. Major George Atwell, second-class passenger.
I was asleep when the ship was struck. I jumped up and said, "We have struck an iceberg." The shock did not seem like that of a collision. It was just as if the ship had grazed the bottom. Miss Alice Bales, second-class passenger.
I said, yes, Y-E, and as I came to the first dot, the lights went out, and I sent 2 dots and then held the key down for the 3rd dot, because, of course, my generator, which was driven from the dynamo, ship's dynamo, then stopped.
Many years later, Ronald Ferguson would tell how, as he was sending the last signals through the ship's wireless, he had one foot on the floor and the other upon a wall on account of the ship's list.
Both the water and the list of the ship prevented a number of watertight doors from being closed. Many crewmen died at their stations while desperately trying to close them. Kendall intended to run his ship aground. Over the telephone, the chief engineer replied that the steam was gone. The Empress had been reduced to a lifeless hulk, sinking under the waters.
I met him first in the passage, and he asked calmly, "Is the boat going down?" I replied, "It looks like it." Irving then turned to his wife. "Dear, hurry, there is no time to lose." Miss Irving began to cry, and as the noted actor reached for a lifebelt, the boat suddenly lurched, and he was thrown against the door of his cabin. His face was bloody, and Miss Irving became frantic. "Keep cool," he said to her, but she persisted in holding him in her arms. He forced a lifebelt over her and pushed her out the door. He then practically carried her up the stairs. I asked, "Can I help you?" And Irving replied, "Save yourself first, old chap, and may God bless you anyway." Frederick Abbott, first-class passenger.
The boat deck was just going under, and I could hear the sound of crashing as everything that was loose on the deck came tumbling down. William Hurd, steward.
When I was trying to reach the rail, a woman handed me her 5-year-old girl. I tried to lift the child up so that Ensign Pellwire, clinging to the rail above me, could grasp her, but he could not reach her. I saw that it was hopeless, so just before the plunge, I handed the child back to the mother. I did not see them again. Captain George Wilson, a second-class passenger.
Well, then I went out of the door and I found a lot of people jumping off the ship. They didn't have to jump far because by this time we were pretty well over. And I yelled to them not to jump. I said there are 2 ships coming to our assistance.
There was no waiting with the Empress. The Titanic went down straight, like a baby goes to sleep. The Empress rolled over like a hog in a ditch. William Clark, Stoker. Through the icy water, I saw the explosion caused by the water reaching the engines of the sinking ship. I was then swimming on my back and saw plainly the burst of steam that spread from all parts of the vessel. Kenneth McIntyre, passenger 2nd class.
We sat on the high part of the railing until the boat went down, and then we were thrown into the water. And as far as I know, the 3 of us were together for a few minutes. Then I found myself hanging onto a piece of wreckage.